Live on DAZN Worldwide, April 26th, Eubank Jr. versus Benn. 30 years of rivalry and hatred.
I do hate him.
All comes down to this. The next generation, a new destroyer. For family, history, legacy. Eubank Jr. versus Benn, April 26th. Buy now at DAZN.com/boxing.
People, this day next week, the weigh-in will have been done for Benn Eubank. Saturday, it's going to be fight night. So it's really starting to get into that, fight feeling. And saying that, we've got shows this weekend that we need to basically see the back of. And I'm looking forward to the shows this weekend. But all talk is now going to be about Benn Eubank pretty much after this weekend in the world of boxing. It's going to be dominated, the headlines, unless something major happens. It's really going to be dominated by Benn Eubank. And as I said about this fight, the closer we get to it and the more the promotion ramps up, and really for me, he egged me. That was just, that sold this fight, not just for myself, but for a lot of people. At that point, if you had any kind of hesitation that this fight was going to do well, certainly with regards to ticket sales and stuff like that, that moment right there, it got people everywhere talking about it. People who don't really watch boxing, but they would have known, or they would have grown up with Nigel and, Chris Eubank Sr. They were like, Chris Eubank Jr., Conor Benn, I got to see it. I want to watch this fight. And it turned a lot of people onto this fight. So a lot of interest in this fight. And one thing I always find interesting, and, there are several things in boxing when we're in the run-up to a fight I find interesting. How is that person? How is he, in terms of what kind of aesthetically is he looking like? And we know Conor Benn, it seems like he's packed on even more muscle. You can see clips of him when he was a young pro, maybe in his first full year, as a welterweight. And as a welterweight, he didn't look like a welterweight. He literally looked like a 140 pounder fighting up at welterweight. Now Conor Benn, and he's in his late 20s now, he's packed on some muscle. I'm telling you now, he's never going to fight at welterweight again. I can't see it. I know you talk about winner, I can't see it. I think that win or lose this fight, 154 pounds, which is where he's been fighting his last two fights. That's the location he's going to be sticking at. I've no doubt in my mind. He looks in phenomenal shape, and Everything Boxing here has named 3 sparring partners. He has the photos and everything that Conor Benn has been in there with. So Bruno Saras is one of Conor Benn's sparring partners. Bruno Saras is, well, obviously we know he's the guy who knocked out Jaime Munguia spectacularly in 6 rounds. I still can't believe that happened. He's obviously rematching him on the undercard of Canelo Alvarez versus William Scull, who's also one of the chief sparring partners here, as well as British middleweight champion Denzel Bentley. People, Scull, Bentley and Saras, they're Conor Benn's sparring partners for Chris Eubank Jr. Now, Scull is not really like Chris Eubank Jr., nor is Denzel Bentley, nor would I say is Bruno Saras. Chris Eubank Jr. is a very unique, is probably the best way to say it. In his approach, in his style, he is more a kind of guy who likes to get in close. He likes to land short shots. He loves the uppercut. We obviously know that's his favourite shot. He relies a lot on athleticism. Chris Eubank Jr. is the sort of guy where he loves an opponent to come at them. If they come at you with the high guard, or they come at Eubank with the high guard, he will just feast on you. He will feast on letting those uppercuts go. And he is a hard kind of a hard style to probably replicate in sparring or mimic. And I don't think with Conor Benn, with those guys, he's necessarily got the style of a Chris Eubank Jr. I know Eubank Jr. lately, over the last couple of years, has been boxing a little bit more. He's had to, really. He's not getting any younger. He's used his jab a good bit more. And he is starting to show, he's not you're never going to turn someone like a Eubank Jr., who's always had, I think, elbow issues, like is it athlete's elbow or something like that, or whatever it's called, tennis elbow, athlete's foot, tennis elbow. I have to mixed up there, but you're never going to turn him into a Floyd Mayweather in terms of technique or something like that. But it helps to have at least a bit of back foot boxing in just there, in the bag if you need to bring it out. And I think the likes of William Scull, Denzel Bentley is quite athletic as well, quite fast. That will definitely help Chris Eubank Jr., or that will definitely help Conor Benn. A lot of people are saying, well, this is quality sparring, look at this sparring, there's no way he's going to be able to lose to Chris Eubank Jr. with this kind of sparring. Well, at the end of the day, if you look at Alexander Usyk, Tyson Fury, another example, when they were in the run-up to their fight, were they household names? A lot of the times in sparring, you want someone who's going to replicate the opponent. It's all well and good having big names. You know, it's great to have big names in camp, but if they're not going to really replicate what the opponent is going to be doing, it really kind of counts for nothing. And as well as that, you can say, oh, he's sparring, you know, really, really good fight. He's sparring arguably the best, or one of the best middleweights in the UK in Denzel Bentley. He's got a, you know, world champion, a super middleweight world champion. He's going into an undisputed fight in William Scull. And he's got a bit of a dark horse in the 168-pound division in Bruno Saras. But one, how well is he going to do against them in sparring? Because, you know, it's all well and good sparring them, but how do we know he's not getting lit up by them? And second of all, you know, do they really replicate Chris Eubank Jr. that well? I don't really necessarily think they do. So, as good as it is to have, I think a lot of people really do. They look at the names that people bring into sparring, they're like, oh my God, you know, he's sparring this guy. Like, oh man, it's just like, it's going to be night and day, man. He's sparring so much better. It's like, well, yeah. I mean, you could argue Tyson Fury had the better sparring partners, albeit the very short time he had. He had Jay Opataya. He had Moses the Helmet in sparring for Alexander Usyk, certainly the first fight. Who won the fight? You know, who won that fight? You really want to get guys who are going to do the best impersonation of said opponent, so you're not shocked with anything on fight night. So I look at those guys with Conor Benn, and I think from a, you know, standpoint of being world level, he's really done well there. But how well is he doing against them for one? And are they really going to stand him in good preparation for Chris Eubank Jr.? Size-wise, yes. Size-wise, they're all bigger than Conor Benn. Denzel Bentley is a big 160-pounder, and the other two are super middleweights. So size-wise, yeah, it's going to really help him. He's going to get used to, you know, a big, strong super middleweight, which is essentially what Eubank Jr. is, pushing him back. But yeah, I just wonder, stylistically, is that really going to benefit Conor Benn? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Conor Benn, William Scull, Denzel Bentley, and Bruno Saras. They're the three guys he's sparring. Good decision, bad decision? Leave it in the comments. I hope you enjoyed the video. Smash the like button if you could. Hit subscribe, of course, if you haven't already. Until next time. Peace.